Hey, I'm Andrew Hales. Welcome to another edition of Chatting With. Today I'm here with Jack.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Yeah, it's awesome.
OCD.
OCD, yeah, that's what I have, so.
Obsessive compulsive disorder. When were you first diagnosed?
I was diagnosed around 9 years old, I think, 9 or 10, something like that.
How old are you now?
I'm 20, I'll be 23 in 2 days.
What were some of the first symptoms as a kid when you were like 9 or 10?
Yeah, so it started off pretty, I guess you could say, discreet, right? Like it'd just be like I'd wash my hands a lot, or I would, if I was picking something up, I would maybe like use a Kleenex or something, or a towel, or sometimes get inventive and put like socks on your hands as gloves and just like open doors that way. I would roll my sleeve down past my hand and then use that to open the door.
Even at 8, 9 years old?
Yeah, it started like that. So
wow.
Yeah, so at school, you know, you can imagine like I was having trouble sitting places, so I'd bring like wet wipes and I'd wipe down my seat, or stand in the back of the class and then wash my hands. Like,
wow.
I say discreet because it gets a lot worse, but it was pretty bad right off the bat.
Before that, though, it was kind of like, even when you started walking, maybe it kind of started.
Yeah, like I always had like neurotic symptoms.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I was always a warrior and always a checker. And that's kind of part of obsessive compulsive disorder. People know about that, right? Where people maybe check the light switch. And mine manifested more in terms of contamination, is what they would call it. Like I was more concerned about the contamination of bodily fluids.
They put you on medication?
Yeah, like I tried all those antidepressants, like the SSRIs, and then a combination maybe with antipsychotics, low doses. That's like the meds they would give to like a schizophrenic or something. But I was taking like a really marginal dose of that. And that was basically it with medication. I mean, the therapy they recommended was exposure response therapy, which is essentially, I think it's a version.
It's like a behavioral kind of thing?
Yeah, so basically like if you're afraid of urine, which was one of my things, right? Like they would, I guess, contaminate your hand and then not let you wash it.
Right.
And then the idea is like, you'll freak out, but eventually that feeling will subside. And I guess that wheel will kind of slow down.
They tried that.
Well, I wasn't willing to do that.
Okay.
I was like when I heard that was the remedy, I was like, I have this for life. Like, wow. I am not.
How would they stop you? They would pin you to the ground or something?
Like, I don't know. Yeah, like it seems barbaric because,
Man.
And to kind of elucidate on the topic, I guess, is part of the reason why it's so fearful is because it's actually, in my instance, not doing the compulsion was worse than like dying.
Yeah.
Like the anxiety I would feel would be like panic.
Yeah.
And so if I, for example, like obviously I've made a lot of progress, like I'm able to shake your hand, like none of this was possible up until I got treatment. Okay.
The treatment, did the SSRIs, they didn't really work?
They didn't help.
What did help?
So I got the willingness one day to just stop doing my compulsions. Okay. It came almost like what you would describe like a miracle, essentially.
Yeah, act of God.
Yeah, like divine intervention. That's, whether you believe in that or not, doesn't matter, because that's essentially what I see it as, is I got the willingness to go like enough's enough, and it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
What were some, I don't know, you incorporate some techniques or some practices that helped
like
you?
I had like a mantra, because the genesis of my OCD started with childhood sexual trauma. That's why the obsessions were based around bodily fluids. So it was like urine and like piss and shit, right? If we're speaking candidly, right? and to a normal person, like, oh, well, how often do you encounter piss and shit? Yeah. But to me, it's more like it was everywhere, because of the way I would think it became insane. So, so an example could be like, if someone goes to the washroom and then they go to the washroom and then they, do their belt up, wash their hands, leave the washroom. Well, if they touch the faucet, for example, I would think that their hand was contaminated. If they touched their belt at any point after they exited the washroom, I would know that they touched their belt before they washed their hands. So now their hands are contaminated, and if they touch like the couch
Right.
couch is contaminated. And it got so bad to the point where if I thought someone's hand was contaminated and I was outside and a gust of wind came, I would think the wind was blowing it on me. And I would do like all these, like I would shake around, I would cough. It became, at a certain point, there were periods of months where I couldn't leave the house. I couldn't function, couldn't go to school.
Okay. That was in high school?
That was, I guess it got 13, so grade 8 probably, 8th grade. And then high school, it got really severe to the point where I actually had to quit school and transfer to a different one. Because I thought the whole school was contaminated to the point where I couldn't enter it anymore.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Sound check. And the new school wasn't contaminated?
Not initially, right? Until
In
I
your
started,
head.
not in my head, but then when you start noticing it. So I guess a good way to describe it is like there's different levels of OCD, obviously. Like not everybody has it where they can't leave the house. But they they distinguish it based on how much time it takes up in your day. So like a mild person would maybe have like 1 hour of compulsions. A moderate person would have like 2 to 3. A severe would have like 4 to 8. And then the extreme is 8 and above. And so for me, it was all I did.
8 and above?
8 and above. It was all I did. Like,
Wow.
so I had no, like when it came time to, like finish high school, go to college, any of that, like, no. Like all I was doing was compulsions.
Compulsions, like 4 hours in the shower, as you mentioned in your book.
Yeah, I kind of talk about that in the book, the crescendo up, I guess you would say. But yeah, so it'd be like 8 hours in the shower, so I couldn't go to the washroom without showering after, right? I couldn't take a pee like a normal person, so I'd have to pee, then I would have to, I'll just explain it. I had to like get everything out, right? Like, as you could imagine, you try to do that, like if you tried, right? And then so it's like, so that process might take an hour.
Yeah.
And then by the time you shower, I had to wash I had a certain method, like head first and wash my hands in between, like torso, wash my hands in between. So it was like a process.
In the shower.
Yeah. And so the showering could take however long. And then I knew it was irrational.
Right.
Like, I know it was irrational because I could see other people. Not everyone's doing this. And in my mind, I was like, okay, like I know I'm thinking incorrectly, but it's such a visceral feeling that there's no way around it. And like a lot of the time what would happen is I'd get out of the shower finally, right? And then I'd think that like more came out of me, even though it had been 2 hours since I took a piss, right? So then I'd have to go back in the shower and do it all over again. And so I would wake up, like in 11th and 12th grade, I was waking up my school started at, I don't know, like 9. I'd be waking up at like 6, and I'd be lucky to make it to school by 1.
Wow.
Like that was a good day near the end of it, and I was like, okay.
Were you able to graduate?
Yeah, sort of, yeah. I graduated, and then I went back to upgrade.
Oh, sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah.
The medication didn't help that much, but you were still on it throughout your teen years?
Yeah, I was on and off.
Yeah.
On and off it, yeah.
And there's other byproducts like depression and anxiety.
Yeah, because it is
Obviously.
it's considered an anxiety disorder.
Okay.
So yeah, there was like a latent anxiety, but that actually really only surfaced after I got the OCD dealt with. I was so preoccupied with OCD that nothing else even bothered me, right? Like I wasn't, the social aspect of anxiety and all that, like that didn't come until later on when I didn't have to worry about touching things.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So then one day you just finally kind of gained control of your thoughts somehow by some miracle.
It was, I'll explain it. So it was it had been a pretty bad go. My addiction had taken over as well because
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I'll get into that.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so basically, like everyone responds differently to drugs and stuff, but for me, it really lessened the amount of compulsions I had to do. So it was a huge, like if I get hammered, for example, I can piss.
Sweet.
You know what I mean, right?
Yeah,
and
right.
like, so I'm like, okay, like, so then, but since I wanted to be like that all the time, it kind of was like, okay, well, I'll get hammered in the morning, or I'll do coke, or take pills, like it. So I was always doing that to try and moderate myself so I could function. And then it got to a point where it was getting really grim with that, and then it kind of stopped actually being a remedy. Like it only worked to a certain degree, and then the OCD was getting so bad. This was when I was around, I guess, 20 or 21, I think. So a couple years ago now. And it was kind of at the head, and I was thinking, I'm just going to kill myself. Like, what is the point, right? I can't stop. Nothing's helping. The drugs aren't even working anymore. And I went to work with my mom because she wanted to keep an eye on me because I was like so messed up.
You're living on your own?
No, I had lived on my own for a bit, but then I moved back in with my parents when it was really, really bad like that. And so I went to work with my mom one morning, and my next door neighbor when I was growing up is a therapist, and she happens to go into my mom's work a lot. So she saw me in the washroom because it was like a private washroom in an office. So I had the door open because I was just washing my hands, right? Like up to my elbows. And it was going on for like probably 2 hours, right?
Wow.
And this woman comes in and just grabs my arm, which I hated because I'm like, now I got to wash up here. Like, I got to go home and shower. Like, I was pissed initially, right? And then she explained, like, talk to me and I can help you.
Huh.
And for whatever reason, I had a feeling like maybe she was right. And so I went to her house later that day and I talked to her, and that's when we went into the traumas from my childhood. And I, for the first time ever, I think, really, I told her everything that happened, like everything in detail. And I just felt like, and then she explained to me like her, I guess, analysis of it. Not sure if this is true with other people with OCD or whatever, but I was punishing myself. All the guilt and shame that I felt from what had happened had manifested itself in me feeling unclean. And then I couldn't get rid of that feeling, and I was trying to wash it away, essentially. So she explained to me, like, it's all a lie created by the mind of a child. You can forgive.
Okay.
And she said that, and I started saying that to myself.
All right.
And that's kind of what got the ball rolling. I was like, okay, like this is all, and it's weird because to anyone else it seems so irrational what I was doing.
Yeah.
But to me it made sense. Like I thought, like if everyone was thinking like I'm thinking, which is the right way to think in a way. Like everyone's covered in piss. That's what I was thinking, right? Like that's how I thought life was, right? So I freak out because I'm like having this, I don't know, awakening really.
Okay.
So I go home, I open the door. I hadn't touched the door, like knob, in 10 years, 12 years. And I open the door, my mom's there, and she sees me opening the door. And I'm like, I'm cured.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, this happened, right?
Yeah. After one session?
Yes.
Oh, man.
It was like, it's a miracle to me,
Yeah.
right? Like, it was night and day for me. And so my mom's crying. Right? Yeah, she's over there. My mom's crying. I'm fucking crying.
Wow.
Right? I hug her. I hadn't hugged her in probably 12 years. Same thing, because I couldn't touch anybody.
Wow.
So it was...
So it was a germaphobe thing too, yeah.
Yeah, well, it was all linked. I thought everything had piss and shit on it, man.
Okay.
Like, the way my brain worked, everything,
okay.
right? Like, you touch the faucet, then you touch, like, the towel goes on the floor, now the person walks on the floor, now the whole floor is contaminated. So now you can't walk on the floor. And you have to jump around to different spots and like lay towels down, and putting on clothes would take like an hour. Like everything became insane.
Yeah, man.
Insane. Yeah.
Okay. How long ago was that?
So that was in, Mom? 2 years ago. Yeah. So I guess in 2017. December 14th, 2017. There we go.
All right. And you kept going to sessions, kept repeating affirmations.
Yeah. So I had that mantra and I put it in my phone. And whenever, like, obviously the obsessions didn't go away. All that changed that day was my willingness to fight doing the compulsion. I still had all the obsessions. Like I couldn't pee.
Habits, yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't pee standing up because of splashing, right? So I would force myself to pee standing up. And then and anytime I got a feeling, I would just tell myself, it's all a lie, and just push through. Like, and it really felt horrible, honestly. Like, it was freeing, but it was uncomfortable because I'd been doing this for so long, for probably about a month.
Okay.
And then after, I guess, the action rewires your brain in a way.
Right.
So after about a month, I was like, I noticed myself just not really actually having the obsession as much.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then how are you now today? You're a lot better?
So now it's like I don't even have OCD.
Really?
Like I still get thoughts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if I go to like a public washroom, and like I force myself now to touch the faucet because even though it's probably not good for you, like germ wise, I'm like, whatever, like I can deal with the common cold.
Now you're like in the opposite,
right?
Just touching everything.
And so I force myself to do it because it's almost like a drug addict, which is similar to, I don't use drugs or drink anymore either, but it's like I'm afraid that if I do one compulsion, it might start all over again. The same way if a guy who's been sober 20 years picks up that drink. Right.
Do you relapse?
So I have like small little things where I notice myself doing something weird because I had a lot of habits, like different ways of like turning off the faucet. And sometimes I will notice myself go to use a towel and then I'm like, oh, wait a minute. So it's like a near relapse, right? It's like so heavily ingrained. And then sometimes I do fight with a obsession.
Yeah.
Like I will, like it happens every once in a while. And I just I remind myself, I tell myself I don't have OCD anymore. And that seems to be like, okay, I can be normal.
And you're in Toronto, you have a job now?
I'm in school now.
Cool. What are you studying?
I'm studying psychology there.
Nice.
Yeah.
You want to be a therapist?
I'm not really sure. I just I write books. Like I've written another book. I guess I'll just show that.
Has the other book come out already?
No, not yet. I'm still waiting to publish. It's cool if I show it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is my book, Obsessive, Compulsive, Dramatic. It says my fight against OCD, borderline personality disorder, and addiction.
Amazon link in the description.
Yeah, Amazon link. Yeah, thank you, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's what I've been doing. I wrote another book.
Cool.
I'm gonna get that published, and just kind of school is the main priority though.
Sweet.
Because now I can be, like, it's kind of cool being regular.
Well,
right?
So high school, did you no activities, no marching band or?
Oh no, dude! Like I couldn't, right?
Wow.
Like
so that was like almost like
I smoked a lot of weed.
It's pretty much robbed from you.
But that all of childhood was.
Yeah.
Like I used to, before it got really bad, I was like, super into playing. It's Canada where I'm from, so hockey. We always played hockey.
Yeah.
I had to quit doing that, which really sucked because I had a lot of fun growing up playing like sports and, and like going outside. Like, you know what I mean? Like you'd have friends, you ride bikes or skateboard. Yeah. Couldn't really do that near the end.
Was outside dirtier than inside? That's a kind of a dumb question. I don't even know.
No, it's actually a decent question. I would say inside was worse a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Because I was around, being alone was the best.
Yeah.
Because I didn't feel like other people were constantly contaminating me.
Well, I've heard people get more sick in the wintertime because they're indoors more and there's just more germs going around because people are always indoors and there's no fresh air and
that makes sense. Yeah.
So, and it's not necessarily because of the cold.
Yeah, like the outside became a non-option at a certain point because of the wind and bird shit would just like bird shit, dog shit, like that would make me lose my mind. But for the most part, the outside would have been better. Like if I was outside alone, it would be like, okay, like at a park or something.
Cool. Yeah, two of my favorite movies have a OCD guys. As Good as It Gets. You seen that?
No, I haven't.
You seen that? Yeah, that's a good one.
I gotta check that out.
And Aviator.
Yeah, Howard Hughes.
Yeah.
Yeah. My one buddy actually was like, you ever hear about Howard Hughes? He's like you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Come in with the milk. Come in with the milk. Did you ever have to like repeat things?
No, but
Yeah.
I had to ask for reassurance all the time. I'd probably, for example, like I'd be like, let's say something happened that was very convoluted. Like, oh, I shook Andrew's hand and I'm pretty sure I saw him touch his belt. And then I touched the doorknob and then I realized that my hand was contaminated. So I washed my hand and then I accidentally touched the doorknob again. And I'd go up to my mom, I'd call her or something if I didn't live with her and be like, I explain what just happened and say, is everything okay? And she would go, yeah. And I'd be like, okay. And then I would, for some reason, it was like,
okay.
And I think this is actually common with OCD people. We're always looking for the reassurance.
Right.
And that, in a way, it was what my mom should have been doing at the time, I guess, but you can't cure yourself that way, right? Because then you just become dependent on other people.
You talked about your hands would actually crack from washing them so much?
Yeah, so I'd be washing my hands for hours. So yeah, the soap would dry them right out to the point where, yeah, they'd be all cracked and bloody. Like people would think...
Bloody?
Bloody.
Like
they would get so dry.
Do they have scars on them?
No, but they would actually crack open.
Wow.
Like they would get so dry that there'd be like a fissure almost in it and blood would come out. And like that, it didn't stop me. I had to do it.
Did you put on Band-Aids or whatever?
I would sometimes put moisturizer and then put my hand in, like fill up a glove with moisturizer and do that when I was sleeping.
Wow.
To try and replenish it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, everything became very...
Yeah, Aviator. When he's
he's
from that one thing on his shirt. But you never had anything where you had to like repeat things like...
No, like at the beginning, yeah, I would like knock a certain amount of times and stuff, but that dwindled when the other stuff got so extreme.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when things are crooked and uneven or whatever, and it's like it's such a BuzzFeed thing. Oh my gosh, my OCD.
Yeah.
Does that piss you off?
Stuff like that it pissed my family off a lot because they'd be like, they don't know what OCD is, right? For me, I sort of was like, well, it pissed me off to a degree, but I was always like, like people don't know. Most people
ignorant,
and most people don't have that OCD to that level. Like most people you meet with OCD probably are just like, oh, like this type of guy, like moving the stuff. It's got to be in the center of the coaster. Like I never had that sort of alignment or symmetry OCD. I think
it was like it was all about piss and shit.
All of it. Yeah, man. Yeah. There's a humor to it.
Yeah.
Looking back. Yeah.
Is there anything positive about it? Did it make you better at math or anything?
Positive. I would say, yeah, there is. It made me, like, it definitely made me grateful. Like now, like I wouldn't change it. Yeah. Even though I miss so much, like the way I felt that one day when I realized it was conquerable and the way I live now, so worth it. Yeah. So, and it makes me grateful. Like sometimes I do have like a bad day, not OCD related, but like a regular, everyone has bad days. And I'm like, yeah, but I showered for 5 minutes. You know what I mean? Like it's, it kind of pulls you back. It's a good like reminder of like, you know what? Things were actually so much worse before.
Just, it's kind of...
It's like a perspective thing.
Yeah, it's kind of made you stronger psychologically.
For sure. Yeah. A lot more empathetic too.
Be sure to check out Jack's book, link in the description. Obsessive, Compulsive, Dramatic.
Yep.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I will see you next week.